You know how whenever we go on Instagram, I feel like we're constantly on it because it's our market, but you constantly see all these wellness trends, right? Detox this, detox that, ice plunge this, ice plunge that. And it's really unpacking. Is that good for your body? Because everybody's body constituency is different, right? Everyone's going through different cycles. Everyone's cortisol levels are very different. So it's really understanding that with Chinese medicine. And that's what I love about it, right? It's like it's a personalized wellness route for you. It's not all one size fits all, which I think we see a lot of in this space because it's so, so noisy.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the NOOCI Podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Tan. In this episode, I sat down with Charlotte Yau, the founder of Muihood, a skincare and wellness brand rooted in traditional Chinese medicine. We talked about her journey as a British-born Chinese entrepreneur, how her upbringing shaped her relationship with TCM, and the powerful idea of generational health, carrying forward the rituals and wisdom of our families in a modern, accessible way. I know you'll find so much inspiration in this conversation. Hey, Char, I'm so excited for you to join us today.
Hey, I'm so excited to chat. I feel like it hasn't been that long since we last spoke when I was in Hong Kong in May. But yeah, I'm so excited. We've had this penciled in for such a long time.
I know. So I'm so excited to have you join us finally. And I love your products. So we will definitely go right into it. So Char, you grew up British-born Chinese. How did that shape your view of beauty and wellness growing up? I'm curious. And what were your first connections with traditional Chinese medicine?
Yeah, so with traditional Chinese medicine, it's always been something that's present in my life growing up since I was a kid. We've always had herbal broths being made every Sunday. We've always had gua sha treatments done on our backs whenever we're feeling ill, when I've got a fever. So we've always used it. It's been a present in the Yao household. That's been one of my fondest memories. When I was younger, I didn't appreciate Chinese medicine. I just thought it's painful, it's smelly, it's just a nuisance. But growing up, now that I'm older, you really realize the benefits and the goodness that comes from it. And yeah, I think that's why I created Muihood, was to really create a brand that appreciates Chinese medicine and the history and all of the knowledge that's inside of it, and make it such a lovely experience for everyone to use, especially people who have never heard of Chinese medicine before, to explore it brand new.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit about your journey to Muihood. What is that and where does the name come from?
Yeah, so Muihood's quite a funny word that we just stuck with. I was thinking about what sort of brand name would Muihood be, and it didn't start off with words and this sounds really cool, could we lean with that? It was a feeling that I wanted to create. So what did this brand wanted to, I guess, have an energy of? And I grew up with lots of strong women energy in my life. I'm a little sister myself, so Moi is kind of like a nickname. And I also wanted to blend my Chinese and English heritage together. So Moihood was really a mix of that. And obviously Moi being sister and bringing a sisterhood energy together, it's sort of just, we just sat with it and we were like, okay, I think this is the one. So it really just came from, okay, what sort of feeling do we want this brand to be? How can I mix both my British identity and also my Chinese identity together?
Yeah, I love that. Tell me a little bit more about sort of that identity, right? I think, when I think about growing up here, it was as you said, it's hard for you to embrace your Chinese side, right? I mean, I used to be
Yeah.
my mom would pack me Chinese lunches, for example, and then it always smell a certain way. And then it was slightly more complicated than my other friends that had sandwiches. And then I was like, Mom, just pack me sandwiches. I don't need stacks of this and the meat patty and the veg and, things like that. Or why are you making me these different teas that smell a certain way? I'm
Yeah.
curious, what was it like growing up for you?
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's so similar to, I guess, every British or Chinese or American Chinese child, where you're sort of like, oh, that's weird. That was just the word that describes, anything that had to do with your Chinese culture, right? Oh, that's weird. That's really strange. So I feel like growing up predominantly in white neighborhoods, you're very aware of that and you're very aware of your differences. And the foods you eat might not be the same foods as your best friend, right? And I felt like I had a real tough time growing up to accept that and appreciate that because I felt like being different for one was a bad thing. And also, 'cause I guess as a kid, your currency is to make friends, your currency is to be liked, right? So outside of that, you don't want to stand out. You don't want to be like strange or odd or seen as, you know, a bit different. So I really struggled growing up appreciating my Chinese culture and Chinese medicine and all of those things that come with it, right? Because I thought that was something that puts a target on your back to be like, you can be bullied, right? So I feel like throughout my childhood, I understood that at home we did things differently. We ate different foods, and that's where culture lived and breathed. And I think all throughout my 20s growing up, as I got more comfortable in my skin, as I met friends from different ethnicities, and you start to bond together on these different experiences that you've had, which feel really similar growing up. That's when I started to really appreciate the things that we did at home, right? And I think for me, I've always been one to look after myself and understand my body a bit better. And I think growing up, when Moy had started in, I guess like just out of COVID, 2021, people were starting to really like look after themselves, understand what their body's saying, spend that time to really think about what's going on inside, not just like surface level. And for me, that was going back to my roots, and that was learning Chinese medicine again. And I think that's where Muihood started. And that's when I started to really appreciate culture and the heritage and the deep history of what we did at home in an adult perspective, right? I think you just have a deeper understanding and a deeper appreciation for it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that that's very similar to me, where it was really COVID and the pandemic, where you had a lot of time and you're going through your own issues, where it allows you to take some time to really deep dive and revisit, right? Things like traditional Chinese medicine, and really appreciate what our grandparents had brought, right, into our childhood.
Absolutely. And I feel like it really ties into what our messaging at Muihood and our brand. So we have this thing called generational health, and it's this messaging that we're firm believers on, and what tie Muihoods together. Because when I was thinking about what does Muihood really stand for and like what are our beliefs, it's the belief that the term generational wealth and assets and financial assets are passed down from generations to generations, right? I think for Muihood, it's taking that rich history, right? And that herbal soup recipe that's been
Mm,
passed down from generations to generations, right? Even the tools that we used in gouache, like I've got a really old coin that has been passed down to generations, and like we use it, right? And it's those tips and how we look after each other and those sources of knowledge on just looking after your health, your mental well-being, all of that has been passed down from
mm.
generations. And I think that in itself like bottled the essence of Muihood, right? And that's like the richness of our assets. Like people say like health is wealth, but like it really is, especially in Asian culture. I feel like we really hammer home that message.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really stuck with when I was building Muihood and what sets us apart from a lot of other skincare and wellness brands out there. And I love that it's all tying to generational health. And like you said, a lot of the time it's like we learnt from our grandmas, our granddads, and they learnt from their great grandmas and great granddads,
That's
and there's
so
so much richness in that.
Yeah, and I love that. And tell me a little bit about your first product, right, at Muihood. You had a good chi cleansing balm. How did you decide on that, right? With so many different products to make and so many different herbs that you can pick. Tell me a little bit more about how you first started.
Yeah, so the cleanser really came out of maybe just more a selfish need of being like, I am really wanting a cleanser that nourishes my skin, and I haven't tried anything that does that for me. And I even think cleansing your face as a ritual has always stuck with me from such a young age. I feel like whenever we went to a sleepover or like our friend's house, the one thing that I'd always be hammered in the head of like, okay, you need to always brush your teeth and you always need to wash your face. And I think that's been a consistent reminder throughout my whole childhood and into even like my adulthood, even at uni. And you're really drunk, you come back home and you're like, I just want to pass out. But like, I would be like, no, I need to brush my teeth, cleanse my face, and like like spend that time to do that
Amazing.
double
I wish
cleanse,
I had
right?
that in me. I definitely did not.
Like I can't do anything like other than that. And then once that's done, then I can go to sleep. Like that's how much it is like drilled into me. And I felt like with the cleanser, again, I think after COVID, people couldn't go to the facialist, right? Because everyone couldn't really go out. So people were at home spending time to look after their skin. And for me, I love a good cleanser. And I've always had the problem of buying cleansers for my skin. I've got quite sensitive, reactive skin. And often living in the UK, it's very dry, very dehydrated. And I wanted a cleanser that was super nourishing, gentle on your skin, and essentially just cushions your skin after you've washed off your cleanser. So it doesn't feel stripped at all. It just helps remove everything off. So you don't even need to do a double cleanse. You just do your massage around your face, melt everything off, and then you're sort of ready. You just slap on some moisturizer. And the Good Chi was really our first product to really think about, okay, how do we create something that feels uniquely different, right? And I wanted it to, as you said just before the call, like it took us 41 iterations to get to where we were for the final formula. And that process was really important to me because my background isn't I'm not a chemist. I'm not into cosmetic formulations in my background. I have done marketing for most of my life for other brands. And for me to create a product, I had a real vision and a real understanding that I want this to feel like no other cleanser out there, or else I don't want to create something that, you can get similarly elsewhere. It had to be very special, and also it had to really blend both Chinese medicine with really good skincare formulas. So for me, I worked with an amazing formulator in London who understood the brief. And even that finding formulator was a labor of love because I spoke to so many different manufacturers. And often the case, a lot of manufacturers, when you're a small brand, like they are sort of like, unless you're not coming at me with a massive check, I am wanting to do the bare minimum, or they don't understand, I guess, your vision and want to come with you on that journey, right? So a lot of the time they're just like, oh, we can substitute this herb because, we don't have a supplier for that. Could we do, I don't know, like a cheaper green tea? And you'd have these conversations and they would really input how you want to move forward. And for me, it didn't really matter to me of like spending that extra time to find the right people, because for me, that's really important. We're building the foundation of this brand, right? I don't want to substitute ingredients for cheaper alternatives. Like that was just my stance. So it was really spending time to find the right person who understood how we wanted to combine Chinese medicine with really effective skincare. And we found someone who wanted to go with that journey, who understood the importance of it. And for me, when I was thinking about what herbs to put in it, I have such a fond memory when I was a young kid and we went to Korea and we went to a ginseng factory where they did ginseng extracts for all different kind of products, and skincare was one of them. And back in the day, I think it was like 2006 or 7, they gave us a ginseng peeling gel, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. I was like, my skin feels so soft. Even though I was a kid anyway, I was like, I love like your aunties trying it and they're like, touch my skin, touch my skin. And the reaction from that, I was like, this is special. I would love to create that feeling for someone that feels, I feel confident in my skin. Like I feel like, wow, like this is done. I just feel great and I look great. And that, I think, was one memory that brought me back into, I guess, the first product. And I was like, okay, we want to find really good ginseng as an ingredient is amazing, right? I think we have it in broths, we have it in skincare. Like it's known for being one of the powerhouse herbs, right?
Yes,
So
completely. I mean, we have ginseng in our product, in our energy product, and it's so important it's such a powerhouse herb, like you said, and also to find the quality of that ginseng is so important.
yeah. So we definitely had an idea of like, okay, these are the sort of herbs. So when I was working with a formulator, we had some benchmark products. When we start a product, we always have a few benchmark products to be like, okay, we really like the feel of this one, but we want it to be more hydrating, or we've got I guess, like a benchmark to refer to when you're creating your brief. And for us, we had a vision of, okay, we want it to feel as if like you've just moisturized the skin. So as soon as you wash off the product, your skin barrier still feels really soft and hydrated and nourished, right? And then I think when we were sourcing the herbs, it was a real mixture of understanding what herbs do we use in Chinese medicine, what are the benefits for them in terms of like skincare benefits, and can they work alongside the formula in a natural balance to make it, I guess, like a harmony, like relating back to Chinese medicine. And yeah, I think when it was the first go, I feel like the first 20, it was just getting the texture right. And then after 20 plus, it was just really refining now those little tiny things. It was just thinking about how do we want it to wash off? We want it to be a milky step. So after the solid cleansing oil then turns into a milky emulsion. Then once you rinse it off, it's just completely, everything's off, everything's super smooth. So yeah, I think for us, it was really taking time on each single process to make sure that the end product was something that we were super happy with.
And throughout the process, so you had people come and test as you went along. How did that process happen?
Yeah, so it was quite important for us before we even launched the product in Muihood. We did like a soft sort of community building on social. I think we had been posting about our idea of this brand, and we had been speaking to a lot of beauty creators, a lot of people in beauty already who had heard of what we're trying to do at its idea stage and was already kind of invested because they're like, interesting, I've never heard of Chinese medicine before. Or how fun would it be to help form this brand with them and share my opinion? So way before we even launched the final product out to market, we already had a community of people who were really interested in skincare, who had a real passion for products for sensitive skin, had different, I guess, skin concerns. So it was great because we could use them as our test group and our focus group. And from there, it was great because we had all different skin types that could trial our different variations and give us live feedback on being like, no, this needs to be more hydrating, or the scent needs to be reduced by 10%. And those sort of nuggets of feedback was so helpful for us because it just helped us move quicker and help us understand how do we get to that 41 version.
It's amazing. And I'm curious, so you said that some people had no TCM knowledge, right? So how did you convince them like about TCM, because TCM takes so much education, right? So that step is I think for us, it was like, okay, we need to educate the consumer, especially since they're asking a lot more questions. People want to be informed, right? And it's so complex. So how did you do that?
Yeah, it's such a complex topic. And I do feel like it's quite scary and intimidating as a newbie completely. I think for my headspace, I'm always looking at things and being like, how do we simplify this as much as possible so that it doesn't feel daunting? And with the topic of Chinese medicine, it was never about do you understand damp in your body? Do you understand heat in your body? Because also people are like, what are you talking about?
I know,
Like,
yeah.
no, I'm not damp, or what? I don't get that. So it was more from the point of being like, do you just feel sluggish and heavy sometimes, right? Or what are your periods like? Are you really low energy? Do you just have a really heavy flow on the first day and you have sharp pains? So it's really coming at it of being like, what's relatable to people, right? And what are the feelings that we've experienced or can relate to versus have you got excess damp in your body, or are you yin deficient? It's more being like, okay, what's your digestion like, or even just being like, do you have hot sweats waking up in the middle of the night, and speaking to them in the sense of like, what are your pains, your day-to-day pains? Or what are the things that are just like niggling in your head that you're like, I don't understand why I'm constantly feeling like I'm dehydrated or a dry mouth. And I think starting those conversations where it's personal, it's relatable, it's more like you're having a conversation with your friend. That's always been the approach for us. It's never to be, okay, we're the TCM encyclopedia, because a lot of the words that we use in TCM isn't day-to-day language, right? And people won't understand it. So it was more being like, how can we be that cool auntie that can literally just be like, how does your body feel first off? And then let's go from there. And then we can then introduce you, well, actually, that means this. So I think that's always been our approach.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that as more and more brands and more influencers talking about it, right? And simplifying it, I think that together we can sort of help people understand, right? Because as you said, it's super daunting. And I just had this conversation this morning about going to see a Chinese medicine practitioner, right? It's daunting to go and, have them feel your pulse, see your tongue, and then in the most traditional aspect, they would give you herbs, right? And then you have to boil it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times now you're getting granules, but it's still super bitter tasting, right? And then
Yeah.
have them tell you, and some Chinese practitioners can be bothered to like explain to you all the different terminology, but a lot are like, you're just, you're stagnant in chi, right? And then you walk away like, what does that mean?
Right? And you're like, I don't know. I don't know what that means. What?
Yeah. But when you can bring it down towards something that you're like, okay, because you're damp, that really is like because you're bloated, right? Or you're bloated because you're damp. I think then that people can understand.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's just breaking it down into just like simple terms, as if like you were to chat to your friend, because otherwise, even for me, and we have a Chinese medicine, skincare, and wellness brand, when I'm speaking to practitioners and they throw all these words and I'm like, wait, slow down. What does this mean really? Like, okay, what do I need to do with my diet? Tell me that. Like, should I stop eating spicy foods? Should I stop eating ice cream? Like, breaking it down into actionable steps, I think, is a lot more valuable, because
Yeah.
then people are starting to like understand patterns and, okay, the reasons of this is caused by this.
I think on top of that, it's like, okay, you're living in the UK, the temperature, the climate, right? It's a certain way, as you mentioned, super dry, right? But then, for example, I'm in Hong Kong, super hot and super humid, right? So it's all that, taking into account all that plus your habits. And so actually, it just came from like a health talk by one of our Chinese practitioners. She was like, it's so important to know your body constitution, right? It's so
Yeah.
important to like understand where you are and being able to not just take any sort of advice that you're seeing on social media, but really being able to like take that down and like know your constitution to like figuring out like what is personally usable for you, right?
Absolutely. Because I feel like we did a post on this recently on social, but it's, how whenever we go on Instagram, I feel like we're constantly on it because it's our market, but you constantly see all these wellness trends, right? Detox this, detox that, ice plunge this, ice plunge that. And it's really unpacking. Is that good for your body? Because everybody's body constituency is different, right? Everyone's going through different cycles. You know, everyone's cortisol levels are very different. So it's really understanding that with Chinese medicine. And that's what I love about it, right? It's like it's a personalized wellness route for you. It's not all one size fits all, which I think we see a lot of in this space because it's so, so noisy. Everyone at the moment feels like ice plunges are the best thing for you. And it's just funny because like in Chinese medicine, like we very much avoid ice as a rule of thumb. And it's sort of just like adding to that dialogue of you can do it. It might be amazing for you. We're not stopping you. It's just understanding, okay, what is your body saying and is it the right thing for you? Or is there a better alternative? And it's just opening others' perspective on things, being like, okay, it might work for my best friend, but maybe something else might be better suited for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that actually we just had a panel on this too, on ice plunging, right? I think that especially for Asia, right? People are not used to shocking your body that way. So they were saying that, they are doing the ice plunges and they're doing the contrast therapy, but actually they had to readjust the temperature to make it not as cold, right? Because people are just not used to it. And then you're leaving, like your body is just not, they're not feeling good after like hitting such low temperatures out here. So I think that and it's really listening to your body to see what works, right? Because of the body constitutions. Are you more heaty? Are you more cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. So, like, really being attuned to feeling your body, right? And it's not just one size fits all, I think, is you really hit it on the nail.
It is that. And I think in this day and age, we're so inclined to just follow what the next thing is or what people are talking about. And I think it's just so important to be as simple as just listen to your body a bit better and check in with what you're feeling currently instead of just I'll go with where the trend's taking me.
I know. I think that it's hard to not be swayed by trends, right? But I think that in something like TCM, when you're really looking at health as like a long-term foundational thing, right? I
Mm.
think that, especially with your skin and like it's not just topical, it's really like about like from your inside out, right? So
Yeah.
and where your skin is, especially if you have sensitive skin, it's coming from your inside out. So tell me a little bit about how you approach that for, as a skincare brand that really looks at sensitive skin.
Yeah. I think for us, we as a brand have always been active on saying, yes, you can use topical skincare to help with certain things, but it's always been rooted in looking at what is your diet at the moment, right? Are you eating whole foods? Are you eating like nourishing foods for your body? How are your stress levels? How is your sleep? All of these different things. Whenever friends come to me and they're like, Shah, I'm having this awful breakout. What do I do? And then I ask them the questions of just like, well, how much sleep are you getting? What are you eating? Are you really stressed? All of these different things, just get a better understanding because I think what we always think and I guess neglect is your body, how you treat your body is how it comes up in your skin and your face and everywhere, right? It's your stress levels, everything. So I always for me, I know when I'm particularly stressed at work, I will get a few hormonal spots around my jaw or dryness. And I think it's always reminding yourself, yes, we can have a lovely 5-step skincare routine, but going back to the basics of, I think, spending those few moments in the day where you are just doing some deep breaths to just help regulate your stress system at the moment and trying to drink, your 8 glasses of water every day. Those sort of simple things are really what I think we forget sometimes. And I think for me, it's very much, and then maybe with Asian skin in general, I can't use that many actives, for example, for my skin because I've got quite sensitive skin. So I know lots of my friends, they swear by retinol and also I love it as a product as well. I think it's great, but I think it's really understanding every person's skin's different. So what might work for other people, what they can use 3 times a week, 4 times a week, might not be suitable for you. So it's really understanding, I guess, yes, you can learn knowledge from social, you can learn knowledge about from your friends' recommendations, but it's really just checking in. And when you are testing new products, like just paying attention to how your skin's reacting. For me, it's just as simple as like doing patch tests. I test a lot of products because I'm in the world of skincare. We're constantly testing and getting ideas and looking at what's on the market already. So I think for me, it's always just having, if I am testing a product, my core skincare routine is the same from 10 years ago. I haven't changed it at all. And it's so important to not add too many variables into the mix when you are testing out new products, because, you don't know what will break you out or what might flare up something. So keeping I feel like for me, it's like I have my base locked down on what cleanser, toner, moisturizer that I'm just like, if I am having those weeks where my skin's very reactive, it's just that. And I use nothing else. So just, yeah, having that like locked in, I think is quite important.
Okay. So what is your skincare routine? I'd love to know, what is your sort of go-to from 10 years ago till now?
Yeah. Do you know what? It really hasn't changed much. I've always been an oil-based cleanser girly. I think although I have quite a sensitive dry skin, sometimes I get really oily T-zone area. So I feel like with that, lots of people are scared to use oil for oily skin, but it's actually very helpful because often or not, you're producing oil because your skin needs it, right? So I've always been an oil cleanser girly. I love it. It's one thing that's always helped my skin look and feel its best. Takes off all of my SPF, takes off all of my makeup. I love it. It's easy to use. And then I love an essence. I feel like when I was 16, I was introduced to SK2 and their famous essence. I feel like I must have like borrowed it from my mum because I'm like, I definitely could not have bought that. So I was like using it and I was like, this is amazing. So I've loved an essence. I always just think I just think the finish on your skin, it helps like lock in all that moisture. I always see the difference between not using an essence and then just straightly applying a moisturizer to when I'm using both together, right? I feel like my skin looks brighter. It feels more hydrated. So it's always been cleanser and then essence. Then, depending on what my skin has been throughout the weeks, I have a bit of hyperpigmentation. So sometimes I would use a bit of niacinamide or vitamin C, some sort of like treatment.
So, you talked about trends, right? What are some trends in wellness that you're seeing, especially with everything going around social now? What's something that you're like, this should not exist? Like, people should not be doing this.
Yeah, okay. So one that came to mind, this was back in the day when I was quite young. Do you remember those detox teas that would just be you're just drinking laxatives? That was a trend that needed to go away and should not have been marketed to young adolescent girls. Full stop.
Yeah.
And remember when every celebrity was promoting those? That was the no-no for sure, because
God.
just the awful. And then I would say most recently, a trend that's jarred me is, and I don't know, maybe I'm just on that weird side of TikTok and Instagram, but we were just mentioning earlier, people making their own SPFs at home. Absolutely not. That's also a no-no. Please don't, because I don't think it's not safe, full stop. And we have formulators and chemists for a reason. There's a reason why SPF takes so much time, because it's ultimately brands are making a health claim and it needs to do what it says it's doing. So I feel like when you're at home just cooking up, your own coconut oil mixture, don't do it.
Not. It
Please
doesn't work.
don't. No, it does not work.
Okay. These are good. These are good take homes. And for those out there that are like, oh, you talked about skincare, topical, and then you talked about, a lot of it comes from within, right? What are some of your favorite herbs that you're using? in your daily?
Oh, my favorite herbs. So I think I drink this at least 3 times a week. Jubi tea
Yeah.
with goji berries. I put a bit of ginger in there. Oh, so I live quite close to, I'm in Bangkok at the moment, and the Chinatown is amazing. And I go down there like probably on the weekend, just pick up some bits, and you can get your snow mushroom, your dried long an, and it's perfect because I just stock up for the week and just make a tea that I can just sip on. And also it doubles up as a dessert and a snack.
Totally.
So
And it's
yeah,
healthy. It's
and
healthy.
it's healthy and it's good for your skin. Yeah. Jujube bay tea with a bit of ginger, goji berries, sliced up some snow mushrooms, and put a little bit of sugarcane sugar just to like sweeten up a little bit. And that's like my perfect snack. It's all
Amazing.
my favorite herbs in one go, and it's like good for your skin.
Amazing. Okay. So everybody will be making that at home. So tell me a little bit Muihood, you've done so much already. You guys are in Cult Beauty and Liberty London. What do you see coming up for Muihood?
So we have 2 exciting new products coming out this year, fingers crossed, which we're really excited about. And for me, I'm just really inspired by creating more products that are really rooted in Chinese medicine, bringing in ingredients that people might have not heard of before. It's always been something that it's been our biggest piece of feedback. Our mugwort foot soak, bath soak, has been one product that people love because they were like, a foot soak, a herbal foot soak. It just looks like a tea bag. And I'm like, try it and you'll have the best night's sleep ever. And people love it because we get comments and it's like, wow, like I've used it because I've had irregular periods. It's helped me out for that. And they learn about it because they're just like, I've never heard of it before. I've never heard of even just like the concept of, doing a foot soak once a week. So for me, it's really bringing in, okay, what other Chinese medicine herbs do we use? And we bring it in a way that feels like everyday wellness. So it doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like something that can fit into more of a self-care ritual. That's something that I'm really looking forward to and also inspired to work on.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to try the new products that are coming out. And I think your foot soak, I haven't tried it yet, but I definitely need it.
Yes, I'll send you some.
Hi. And for our audience today, how do they find you and Muihood?
Yes, so our Instagram and TikTok is just at Muihood, so Muihood, and our website is also just muihood.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Steph. It was so nice chatting with you.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the NOOCI Podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, we'd love your support. Leave us a rating, drop us a review, or share it with someone who'd enjoy it too. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.